Hi, I'm Brad Hull. I'm an attorney with Hickey & Hull Law Partners. I'm here with Kevin Hickey. This is Coffee with Counsel. Today our topic is paternity actions, and so we're going to get into that. But Kevin, I'm pretty excited about this one because we're doing podcast format, so it's a little different than what we've done in the past. My wife will tell you I love podcasts. She thinks my dream job is to be a podcaster. That's not really true, but I like listening to podcasts. I think this format will help us make better content with it, and we're going to try to talk about some different issues and not just stay on one specific topic the whole time.
Okay, sounds good to me. I'm in.
Okay, so with that, before we get into paternity actions, I want to do our first kind of segment here, which is the non-legal minute. So you didn't know I was bringing that up, huh?
No, I did.
The trope for legal content seems to be the legal minute or the update, or some more what would you call it, advantageous lawyers may try a 2-minute legal update, but we want to do kind of the opposite of that and flip it on its head and spend a minute or so talking about a non-legal thing in our life, sports, cooking, whatever we want to do.
Okay.
So sometimes we may be ready. We may have a take. You and I tend to like to have something to say. And other times we may just talk about something that is kind of the hot topic issue. And so I thought for today we would talk about the hot topic issue for the last couple of weeks, which is Arkansas baseball.
Okay.
That work for you?
Oh, yeah. Heart is still broken, but yeah, that's fine.
Well, are you like a big baseball guy? Do you follow them all year?
I followed them most of the year, yeah. Once they really started to get on their run, I started following them pretty heavily, yeah.
So I'm not. You know that about me. I don't.
Yeah.
I like baseball when it matters. When every pitch matters, that's pretty fun for me. But during the regular season, every pitch does not matter, and it is boring to me. And I like sports, but it's just not my sport. I don't know. But I got into it on the run too. I mean, I think that's when it's by far the best. And I kind of had a couple takeaways after this loss. One is, I think we're cursed. I think as a fan base, we're just cursed, and we probably need to just come to terms with it and enjoy seasons like this. At the same time, how great is the program when we have a 50-win season, number one all year, and it's like a letdown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got a Hall of Fame coach there. Dave Van Horn someday will be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt, even if he quit tomorrow. And that gives an incredible foundation up there. And it is a letdown. This team, in my opinion, was the best team in the country. And it's a shame that they lost the way they did. You got to give credit to North Carolina State to bounce back. I was thinking that next morning after they just got obliterated Friday, we're going to see one of two things, because I've been an athlete. I played a lot of tennis, and I've been beaten like that, and you got to come back out and play the next day. And it can damage your psyche, man. And I thought it's going to be interesting to see what North Carolina State does. Are they going to come out and that really gives them resolve to come out the next day and do something, or are they just going to be hammered and that just destroyed them so bad? When they came out, I thought it was the latter. I thought, okay, we've gone up 2-0, and I think they're just going to kind of go into the sunset. But Arkansas, and I think that was the crucial point of the whole weekend, was in that game, 3rd, 4th, 5th inning. Arkansas let them hang around, and they didn't put their foot on their throat, and North Carolina State started to get some steam, and that carried them through the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but you can't go through the SEC like Arkansas did and not be the best team in the country. You just can't.
Well, you say that, but, what do you think about Van Horn saying, we were never Goliath? That was kind of interesting to me, because I didn't follow him as closely during the season. He was kind of saying, we had some magic this year that made us win a lot of games and series where we kind of had to pull it out of our butts pretty much. And so we weren't maybe they weren't as dominant as they seemed on paper. I mean, from just a pure skill standpoint, do you think that's true?
I think that is true, and people may want to throw stuff at me, but this was not like a an Alabama football Nick Saban juggernaut baseball team. It wasn't a team like that. And there were 2 or 3 series during the year where they just had to pull something out, but you got to feel like they had just a shine to them that they were going to get it done.
I know every time I listened to the radio, Bubba Carpenter thought they were destined for Omaha.
Yeah.
He said it more than enough times to jinx everybody.
That's right.
I'm not going to blame them.
So it's his fault. We'll leave it on Bubba.
I don't even know the guy. Don't pull that down. All right. Well, we'll shift gears here. What people actually probably want to hear us talk about paternity actions. So, a few questions just to start it off. What is a paternity action? Well, a paternity action is primarily going to be a lawsuit that establishes paternity for the natural father of a child born out of wedlock. Who files a paternity action? Well, generally, a paternity action is going to be brought by either the father, the mother, or child support enforcement. And what is the purpose of establishing legal paternity? And it can be, there's a few different purposes, but typically what you're looking at is establishing child support and then establishing custody and visitation, making those determinations. So do you have anything you want to add to those?
No, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of people don't understand the Arkansas law, which is that when a child's born and the children and the parents are not married, the mother automatically has custody, and so the father has to take affirmative steps in order to get his rights established.
Yeah. So basically, where we see it the most, at least where I feel like I see it the most, is you have a dad that has had, a lot of times they'll have visitation. But then at a certain point, things break down between him and child's mom, and he kind of learns the hard way that he doesn't really have any rights to this child yet. And sometimes, he may have no more rights to that child than me at that point until he files something and establishes it in court. And at the same time, mom's getting called the shots, and that can lead to conflicts and issues. But that's what these paternity actions are here for.
Well, you're going to end up, child support's going to be set up through that paternity proceeding, but also a visitation schedule. So you're not so much at mom's mercy as to when she lets you see the child. So you'll have a schedule put in place. It's court ordered, and that's a big advantage.
Well, sometimes it seems like there's like a mutual destruction element to it that keeps people from filing for years, and then I don't really recommend that. I think that usually creates more problems down the line when you do file. But, mom doesn't want to file it because, yes, she would get child support, but then dad's going to get rights. And dad doesn't want to file it because he'll get rights, but he doesn't want to pay child support. And if they can just coexist, they do it.
That's right.
You mentioned getting visitation set up. I mean, this may seem like an obvious question, but a lot of times, we have to file paternity actions to establish custody, and you can do that. It's not guaranteed by any means, but you can file for paternity and custody or joint custody, which we may see more of with the new law, which we're not going to get into here too much, but the law is supposed to be changing, and joint custody is really supposed to be preferred even in these paternity actions. So
yeah.
It's not as simple as just getting visitation. Sometimes it's a custody action as well.
Right, that's true. You just have to talk with your attorney about it when you come in for the consult, and the attorney will usually ask you about your history with the child. How often are you seeing the child? Were you and the mom living together, basically in the same household, raising the child? There's a lot of factors that'll go into whether you are going to be in a good position to ask for custody or not.
What is your general, opinion on filing for paternity or establishing it during the time that you and the child's mother are still together?
Well, I leave that up to the client. That's obviously, I'm not going to just file that and serve the mom with it. I'm going to tell the client to talk to her about it, and they need to kind of be on the same page about it. She's probably going to wonder, why are you doing that? So you better have some good reasons for it. It's going to be a discussion, if not an argument.
Do you see it very often? I almost never see it.
No, I never see it. I mean, maybe if they're about to break up and the guy knows it's about to happen, but filing it, getting it established, and then staying together through that doesn't happen very often. Now, I've seen them get back together afterwards.
Yeah.
That can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Nobody ever thinks to do it when they're still together. I have a theory, at least, that it could make them a lot easier, but pretty much nobody does it. And I think I've only had one person ever hire me to do it, and to be honest, I don't know that they ever got finalized.
I think it would be easier to do it then, but your people are they don't like going to see attorneys anyway, and they feel like if you go get an attorney, that's the general public sees that as a very aggressive move, even if it's not. And so you come home and say, "Hey, honey, I went and got an attorney today, and I'm going to get paternity established." It's almost aggressive, or that's how it seems.
Yeah.
So that's probably why a lot of people don't do it.
Well, do you have anything else? I mean, as far as just generally speaking on paternity actions that you throw out there?
No, except that if you do break up, with the mom, I would file sooner rather than later. You don't want to get down the road and have to have child support enforcement or somebody else come in and ask for child support for years back. It definitely is something that needs to be done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, that was my last thought too. Child support, you don't want to get nailed with retroactive support if you can avoid it, and certainly if you guys are living separate and apart, there's a high probability that they're going to look for that. Whether they do it or not at the end of the day is a different question, but they're at least going to be taking a look at it. And I mean, you could get years down the line. It doesn't cut off really until the child is over 18. So
yeah, that's true.
You can go way back.
That's true.
Okay, well, we'll do our last segment then. What I like to call Brad's Law Dictionary.
Okay.
And so basically, it's kind of like a legal word of the day. In law practice, a lot of times we take a word that may seem common and ordinary, and then we turn it into jargon and make it something specific that you don't necessarily know what it means. And so in every episode, probably we'll do a Brad's Law Dictionary and look at some other word and just kind of define it and what it means. And so for this one, the word I've picked is pleadings. So pleadings are the formal documents filed with the court by the parties to the case that set forth allegations, requests for relief, responses, and or defenses. Examples of these are your complaint, your answer, and motions you'll be filing for relief.
Yeah, I was told a long time ago by a senior attorney, and it finally made sense to me. Everyone wonders, why are these called motions? What do you mean motion? Why is that? All that is you're moving. It's the form of the word move. You're moving the court to do something. Anytime you need the court to do something, you ask for it, and so that's put forth in a motion. And so it made a lot more sense to me after I heard it put that way. But yeah, that's it.
The tricky thing about pleadings is that lawyers, for whatever reason, maybe we just like to protect ourselves, but we make rules that require them to be in certain formats and to include certain things. And so you may have this idea about how the court system works, and it may be right in theory, and then you go to file a motion or an answer or something, you're filing a pleading, and you're getting criticized for a document that you think makes total sense, but maybe you wrote it in a letter format or something. That's just not how we do it. And they usually have a case caption at the top, and there's certain space and format with type font and things of that are restricted. So definitely that is where having an attorney helps a lot, and looking up pleadings online could be helpful too. But that's what we mean when we're talking about pleadings. Those are the documents we're talking about.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what a pleading actually will look like, we deal with them every day. But if you're wondering, a lot of times you can see the circuit clerk's stamp up in the top right, and that'll give you a little bit of a hint as to whether you're dealing with a pleading or not. Because those things are filed with the court, and then they're stamped by the clerk.
Yeah, we call it the file mark, but the top right corner, you'll see the date it was filed and the clerk's stamp and everything. Yeah. Okay, well, that's all I have.
All right, I'm good.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. And if you want more information, look at our website, kevinhickeylaw.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff.
See you next time.